Who am I? Who am I representing? What am I going to talk to you today about? So my name is Kevin Schwarz. I'm normally from Germany. That's why I guess I was the first person already here 10 minutes before 9 this morning to then learn, okay, I'm maybe a bit early. But I'm basically working at Zscaler as a CTO. I'm representing the regions of EMEA and APJ, so I have quite something to cover. I'm working for an American company. So you see, as a non-American, I rather focus on everything that isn't American. And it is all about that, what we heard. How do we see cybersecurity embedded into this whole transformations that we're all undertaking? And we had the word about trust. So the company I'm representing is a company called Zscaler. It is an American software as a service company, a security company. And we have this topic of trust in our, how to say, DNA. Yeah? And I want to talk today about to you. The word of trust is a really difficult one because we, of course, want to trust each other. We're building relationships. And if then somebody like me is saying zero trust, you're like, okay, this is typical German that he does that. So this guy seems not to trust me. But I guess it's important that we speak about it, especially in the digital context. And that's a bit, where I want to share with you today some thoughts that I had. I hope some of you might also disagree, because this is then also what I hope this community is going to live and breathe from. So first of all, I want to give you a look in the future. Oh wait, that's the reality that we are living in. So German Air Force has been spied by Russians about the potential use of rockets to fight actively in the Ukraine and Russia war. So the Russians said, hey guys, don't worry, we know about it, here it is. So what are you going to say? Wow. The other thing is, I don't know if some of you have recognized, there was a meeting happening in Hong Kong, but just one person attended actively. 4 or 5 others were just generated by AI. 25 million were paid. I mean, think about what I said about trust. If you cannot trust in a Zoom session that we are meeting and what I'm saying is really what I said, where should this lead towards to? Yeah. So do we have to use a code word that we're talking personally about, and then maybe then here and there say, is this really the answer? Is it really that we should have something like that? I don't know. You see, zero trust, when I'm talking more about it, explaining a bit how I do see the concept, is it going to be the answer for everything? I can't tell you. I don't know. But it's just that we have to know, and I would say that the session before really hit the nail on the head. We cannot trust per se. We have to embed cybersecurity in everything that we are doing to a certain level. And by doing that, I'm always a huge fan of using pictures to explain topics, because I don't understand most of the stuff I'm talking about, so I have to make it really simple for myself. So what you're seeing here is a lady looking at houses, right? So actually, what a stupid comparison. We might think, okay, this is either small houses, beautiful houses, depending maybe also a bit on your income. This is what we see. What do you think a robber is seeing? I see a lot of windows, doors. Maybe there's another entrance in the garden, something like this. So I see a lot of entrances, a lot of ways to potentially cause harm to the people living in this house. So it is a bit of, we have this implicit trust. And I mean, it's normal, right? We can't hide our houses or buildings, under a black cover and then, just tell you, just go underneath it. But it's a bit comparable for me to the IT world. What do robbers do? They're not, of course, they're maybe, and I hope none of you this has happened to. Unfortunately, to me, it happened a couple of weeks ago. They're monitoring you. They're looking to see when you're not at home, when there's basically an easy way, when you forget to lock the window or the door, to come in. Right? We all have heard that. There are plenty of movies about that. Heat is one of my favorite ones, basically putting that also on Hollywood. Then they're breaking in. And then they're looking a bit around. Maybe they find some jewelry of my girlfriend, or they're finding my watch, or they're finding money. And what do? They steal it, and then they run away with it. Similarly, it is happening with most of the cyber attacks that we are seeing. Ransomware being always the one that everybody is the most scared about. But it is so comparable. In a really simple manner, we have a way to come in. Just imagine in an IT world, and sorry for getting sometimes maybe a bit gibberish, an IP port, an unpatched system. Don't tell me that none of you has some of these that you're managing in your companies. Yeah? Some entryway to basically find in. And then they're utilizing it. They're trying to find ways. There was just recently a huge dependency on certain systems that are, so to say, being able to compromise. It takes minutes that this already happened. It gets published, there's a vulnerability, you write a script, you execute, and basically you're compromised. It's as easy as that. Yeah? Then, of course, they're looking, hey, what do I have access to? I was working previously to my job at Zscaler a long time at a large logistics provider with yellow colors called DHL, may some of you know. Yeah? So, of course, we also build networks to connect people, to communicate in an IT context, IP communicating to an IP. This is, of course, the risk we try to mitigate all the time. But still, we have this matter of implicit trust in the way of how we build IT systems. Yeah? Always keep that a bit in mind. And then, of course, what they do, they steal the data, maybe ask you for ransom, or later on, they're basically trying to get money of you because they basically steal your data. I hope this was easy enough for everybody. I basically understood it when I now explained it to me again. But this is actually how easy it can be, and unfortunately how easy it often is. So when I'm looking at the world of IT, we are always using the words of transformation. We're transforming every day, and we do. I mean, now it's good to see everybody of you again in person. I guess 2 years ago we would have all been sitting in front of a team session or basically in a Zoom, and all of you would have done emails. Nobody of you would have listened to like you're doing now. So we're transforming a lot. We're transforming in applications. We're moving to the cloud. Some maybe sooner, some maybe later. Yeah? Some maybe do it cloud native, some may are just shifting. We're transforming the way of how we build networks. Because when I work at home, I don't have a network at home. I don't have a lot of infrastructure. It's actually quite simple how I'm established when I'm thinking about it. And something that we're always forgetting is security transformation. I mean, I also started my presentation with negative news. Yeah, so we are always negative. We are not seeing this actually as the security by design, as it was also said before. But if you're asking me, we should. Because for me, security is a key element that we're achieving digital transformation. Luckily, I'm not the only one saying that. Gartner is agreeing with me on that, and they're writing it in several papers, so at least one party here in agreement with me. So I guess here's a bit of an element that we could see how we could combine all of these transformations to not just transition, to really do an effect on what we are doing here. Now you're thinking, okay, now this guy's getting crazy. It looks complicated. When I'm talking about zero trust, it is as simple as the robbery picture. I hope I can promise that to you. The term zero trust is a concept. I'm representing a company selling tools, but still we can't help you with zero trust to the full extent. You have to run on your own, okay? But what zero trust is all about is I'm assuming breach. I can't trust anything. I can't trust myself. I can't trust the machine. I can't trust, what I'm using. I have to basically verify it and gain back a trust level to say, okay, now you can get access to that resource. If you want to get access to another resource, you may have to fulfill more trust, and I need more context. And that's why this picture is now getting simple. It's all about a user or something with a system trying to access resources. I want to access SAP. I mean, I don't want to, but sometimes I have to. Yeah, that's it. But what I have to know, I have to have context of that combination to be able to evaluate how risky is it, and do I grant access, or do I grant access maybe in a limited fashion. I'll give you an example. When I'm accessing the canteen plan of Espresso here, maybe non-critical. They maybe say, hey, you can get that on the internet. We don't care. Maybe then people apply for jobs because the food is so good here. In the military, that's totally different. The canteen plan is critical information. If you know the canteen plan of soldiers, you can basically maybe try to get into the supply chain and basically put some poison in it. Yeah? Define yourself what critical means to you and what are the criteria you have to fulfill. You have to have context. If I'm accessing now later with my laptop emails of Zscaler, that's maybe okay, I can verify myself. If 10 seconds later that same connection would happen via China, the context has changed dramatically, right? So something is really horribly going wrong. That's what we have to know about. the picture, I hope, now got a bit easier. We're not talking about networks. I don't have to be on a certain network. I'm not talking about application. I'm not telling you which device you have to use, because I want this always as a given. Doesn't matter. We have, in this new modern world that we are in, so many interdependencies, but also we have so many inconsistencies. I'm working from here, I'm working from home, I'm working tomorrow, I hope, somewhere from the airport to get back to Germany. So there are all of these things that I cannot dictate you any longer in this modern world. But still what I want to ensure is that it's always happening securely when you're consuming corporate data or critical information, the way that I define. That is for me what Zero Trust, by the way, is all about. I'm a big fan of examples. This is a company coming from Germany called Siemens. Maybe the one or the other of you know. I don't want to tell you now a sales pitch, but I want you to see how a big organization like that has changed and basically shifted from a mindset perspective on how they are seeing IT. To explain it, you see on the top, I know it's really small and I'm excusing for that. They said, hey, most of our applications are going to be in the cloud. Of course, we have systems that are, especially in the OT space, something that we have to maybe access forever in a sort of legacy manner. But they said, hey, when I can work from home and I'm secure, why do I have to do all of these crazy things when I'm sitting in an office? It has to be the same way, as simple as it is when I'm working from home. So set security as a given. Applications are somewhere. They ask themselves, why don't we change the way of how we are doing networks? Is there maybe some benefit for us? Is there maybe cost optimization? Things like this. So security was a trigger in the end to say, can we do something better? Can we transform and not just transition? Yeah? The story actually continues a lot. So Siemens actually then also took the concept and said, hey, we have a lot of these machines at customer premises, and we have a lot of challenges with that. Isn't there maybe a way of how we could connect via Zero Trust principles these machines and then maybe also have a benefit for our customers? So we're not just impacting IT or infrastructure, we're potentially impacting how we're serving our customers. Yeah? So I want you to see it like that. Security, and this is for us as security professionals as well, but also for you as IT executives, something that we have to see. We have to drive this change, and security should be on the forefront to actively drive it. I know this is a bold statement, yeah, but something to consider. A large organization like that can do that. So I thought a bit about what are things that we should consider, because it's not just all about technology, it's not just all about maybe the security principles. A transformation is not happening just by you saying and dictating to your teams it should be happening. I guess there are a few factors that are important. One is key roles. Who are the people that are driving a transformation? I guess all of you have been once in a position where you've identified you're the wrong person for the job. But I guess we all have egos, so we won't say that we are the wrong person in the job. So we have to see how we can build teams that are actively being able to drive forward with the right mindset. I really mean it, because I see a lot of these initiatives and they're actively failing, because we just give topics to people that are not able to drive transformation in an organization. So something that we should never underestimate. Of course, you need key technologies, right? I mean, if I wouldn't say that, I wouldn't be where I am. But the thing is, there are a lot of non-technical factors. Elon Musk once said, engineers are optimizing systems that actually should not exist. And this is often a problem that we're facing in IT. People that are geeks, that are technologists, they of course want to find better ways how to do things. For a transformation, we sometimes have to take it away and rethink. If you have people in IT that tell you we do this since 30 years, and now you're coming in as a young guy like me and saying, you know what, maybe you should rethink the one or the other thing, is a factor in a transformation we should not underestimate. People is a huge topic as one of the factors that are non-technology based. Of course, we should be prepared to handle an incident. The examples I've shown to you, German Luftwaffe and the German Chancellor at the moment had already a hard time, is even a harder time now to explain themselves. You always have to be able to prepare for an incident. If a fire breaks out in this building, I guess we all know where we have to go. The same way we have to deal with incidents, because it can happen at any time, even the much and the most that we are doing to basically prevent it. That's also a core principle of Zero Trust. Always assume breach and be able to act fast. Yeah? As part of that, some thoughts that I'm always curious about. If you would be breached, what are the top 5 applications that you have to actively activate again to keep your business running? I hope everybody of you has the answer to that. I'm talking to many organizations that still don't. Yeah? It is really something to be important. I give you one hint. People want their money, so maybe accounting tools are one thing that should be up and running quite quickly. Depending on your business, the other 4 you might decide. And then, of course, accessing risk. It is not just something that you build once and then you're happy. You have to reevaluate you. You have to basically try to hack you. Think like attackers. They're not thinking like you. They're lazy. They're thinking differently. They're finding the easiest way in. You always have to be on the forefront to ensure that. On cyber insurance, I leave that up to you to decide how you're seeing that matter. I see that we can have the different discussions on, but I would say we always have to assess our risks, not just how we are trying to control the world. So in the end, what I'm trying to tell you is a bit like this. The lady should just see the door. I know, as I said before, I can't achieve that. Yeah, and I don't want to. I mean, I don't want to live in a world of restrictions just because somebody said zero trust on stage in Portugal is something that is important. But one thing I want you to think about, a colleague of mine coined the term mirror chess. I don't know who of you are chess players, but if you do the same steps as your opponent in chess, you won't win. One of these strategies that I can tell you is not leading to success. You always have to be one step in front. You have to be always challenging your opponent. You have to find maybe new ways. As said, they tried the easiest way, but they only need one way to be successful. Be in the forefront of doing that. Maybe zero trust is not the right matter. We talked about the topic negative trust. Maybe I have to build an environment where basically the attackers have zero trust in what they're trying to do at the moment. Maybe that's the better approach. Who knows? To come to sort of a conclusion. You know, we're coming from a world and how we are managing IT, and I totally respect that. I'm coming from the same world, but I guess we have to rethink certain aspects. Some of the ideas that I find, as said, you can disagree. I'm super fine with that, and I'm looking forward to yours. But let's not try to control everything that we are doing. It's one huge mistake that we are trying. I tried it myself, to be honest. We failed. We didn't have the information and context to base the right decisions on managing risks. We always tried to control everything, and we failed because we tried to think in 100%. Just don't say it's not possible. Transformation is, and this is the ask to every IT leader, that we're on the forefront and say, come on, we get it. A transformation also implicits that nobody did it before the way that we require it. So find your own way. Of course, the thing that I've showed you from Siemens is sort of a North Star, right? It's a vision of how we should see IT in a couple of years. It's maybe not there yet today, that's fine. But what is the mission that you're sending your people on? What is the target picture? North Star is a term I'm hearing more often. What is the North Star of your IT in combination with all of the transformations and security? Maybe underneath it. Maybe it's a zero trust transformation where it's coming from. 2 last topics on that slide I want to mention to you. I hear a lot about the discussion about IT and OT. Why do we differentiate? Attackers don't. Yeah? So I know these are 2 different worlds, but the world that I come from, OT are warehouses, handheld scanners, all of that. Handheld scanners are IT machines like our phones. What's the matter? So I have to protect it a similar way. Why do I differentiate it organizationally? So just some thoughts, but it's up to you and your organizations to decide on that. And the last thing, especially coming from good old Germany, IT was always a cost center. Hey, I guess you know what we heard by the Ministry of Digitalization. We are basically changing the business, so let's start freaking doing it. And security, as I said, should be the driving force. That being said, I'm super happy that none of you, as I can see, has fallen asleep. So I thank really much for your interest, and I'm looking very much forward to the discussions later on today. Thank you.